Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales, The Brothers Grimm, The Tailor in Heaven. One very fine day it came to pass that the good God wished to enjoy himself in the heavenly garden, and took all the apostles and saints with him, so that no one stayed in heaven but St. Peter. The Lord had commanded him to let no one in during his absence, so Peter stood by the door and kept watch. Before long, someone knocked. Peter asked who was there and what he wanted. "I am a poor, honest tailor who prays for admission," replied a smooth voice. "Honest indeed," said Peter, "like the thief on a gallows. You have been light-fingered and stolen snippets of folks' clothes. You will not get into heaven. The Lord has forbidden me to let anyone in while he is out." "Come, do be merciful," cried the tailor. "Little scraps which fall off the table of their own accord are not stolen, and are not worth speaking about. Look, I am lame. I have blisters on my feet from walking here. I cannot possibly turn back again. Let me in, and I will do all the rough work. I will carry the children, wash their clothes, and wash and clean the benches on which they've been playing, and patch all their torn clothes." St. Peter let himself be moved by pity, and opened the door of heaven just wide enough for the lame tailor to slip his lean body in. He was forced to sit down in a corner behind the door, and was to stay quietly and peacefully there, in order that the Lord, when he returned, might not observe him and be angry. The tailor obeyed, but once when St. Peter went outside the door, he got up, and full of curiosity, went round about into every corner of heaven, and inspected the arrangement of every place. At length he came to a spot where many beautiful and delightful chairs were standing, and in the middle was a seat of all gold, which was set with shining jewels. It was much higher than the other chairs, and a footstool of gold was before it. It was, however, the seat on which the Lord sat when he was at home, and from which he could see everything which happened on earth. The tailor stood still, and looked at the seat for a long time, for it pleased him better than all else. At last he could master his curiosity no longer, and climbed up and seated himself in the chair. Then he saw everything which was happening on earth, and observed an ugly old woman, who was washing clothes by the side of a stream, secretly laying 2 veils on the side for herself. The sight of this made the tailor so angry that he laid hold of the golden footstool and threw it down to earth through heaven at the old thief. Since, however, he could not bring the stool back again, he slipped quietly out of the chair, seated himself in the place behind the door, and behaved as if he had never stirred from that spot. When the Lord and Master came back again with his heavenly companions, he did not see the tailor behind the door, but when he seated himself on the chair, the footstool was missing. He asked St. Peter what had become of the stool, but he did not know. Then he asked if he had let anyone in. "I know of no one who has been here," answered Peter, "but a lame tailor who is sitting behind the door." Then the Lord had the tailor brought before him, and asked if he had taken away the stool, or where he had put it. "Oh, Lord," answered the tailor joyously, "I threw it in my anger down at earth at an old woman who I saw stealing 2 veils while washing." "Oh, you knave," said the Lord. "Were I to judge as you judge, how do you think you could have escaped judgment so long? I should have no chairs, benches, seats, nay, even fire tongs, for I would have thrown everything down at sinners long ago. Now you can stay here no longer in heaven, but you must go outside the door again. Then go where you will. No one shall give punishment here but I alone, the Lord." St. Peter was obliged to take the tailor out of heaven again, and as he had torn shoes and feet covered with blisters, he took a stick in his hand, and went to wait a bit, where the good soldiers sit and make merry.